Right, Ms. Sinha. So what would be the takeaways of the panel that you attended?
Well, I saw several examples of ICT master plans discussed by the panelists, but I think we need to get back to basics as to what works in India. So my whole emphasis today was let's push the boundaries forward for India. So let's now stop talking about what happens in other countries. And so I'd like to come up now with solutions that work for India. So that was my main takeaway.
Right. That really makes sense because here the entire demography and the challenges is absolutely different than that of Europe. So as you are saying, you have an entire set of plans. If you could tell us about it.
So I think first we need to get into master planning. So I've been working with some private sector planners and they said that they're not involved in the town planning process at all. So somewhere I'm a think tank, as I said, and I'm in the private sector. So I'd like to bring the public and private sector together. So get the developers or the planners together and look at the city and see can we solve issues. So just take Delhi for instance. Now Google tells me that they have data for traffic at any moment. They know where traffic is. So can't planners sit down and discuss if there is this traffic jam there, let's look at alternative routes, let's look at staggered timings, high occupancy, those incentives, etc. But we've got to find solutions because we don't want to be stuck in traffic for a long time.
Right. How do you think the public-private partnership would work and what would be the level of funding? Because we just have 6,000 crores from the Indian government and the rest would come from private sector.
So I'm very bullish and positive on the current government, at least at the central level. So what we need to do is now connect centre, state and urban local bodies. So that's what I talked about. I believe there is the 74th Amendment which then strengthens urban local bodies. And what the public capital should be used for should be guarantees. This is because I'm coming also from the multilateral world. So any kind of multilateral state capital is very valuable and they should be used to guarantee the structure so that private sector feels comfortable and joining that initiative. So the bulk of the funding will come from the private sector, but they will need guarantees.
All right. Well, we have big expectations, Homes Fall 2022. Do you think this is really possible?
I do, but we were discussing actually a very interesting concept called responsible cities. I only feel it's possible if everybody gets that awakening to work towards a common purpose. Now, where do we start it? How do we start it is something I think should be our next step. So now I think the framework's been laid out by the government very well. Everybody's on board. So let's just start thinking about what next. And one way to start is just identify the best. So the best municipalities or the best resident welfare associations and make us start there, make an example and then scale it out.
Right. How smart would be these smart cities for marginalized communities and animals? We have more than 30 million strays in India. So they being a part of the city, would that fit into the picture?
For the people in terms of affordable housing, that's a big area. And if you look at cities globally, when you have large populations, you do have to consider those modular tall buildings. Now the question is, one question is, will increasing the number of smart cities disperse population more? Because a great worry for me is the internal migration. So what I want to do is have the metropolitans as hub, the center could be there, but each state is a state economy. I'm even thinking that each district is big enough to be an economy. For instance, I went to a district in Madhya Pradesh, there are 2,000 villages, etc. So my point is, let's develop economies all over India so people don't migrate into these cities and become marginalized. We should try to spread out the livelihood. So there's a challenge of the livelihood accessibility to a lot of people. The strays, it becomes a sort of a wildlife issue in some ways. What can we do? Can they be adopted? But I would say I haven't given that much thought to it because first we have so many more challenges also. But I'll definitely give it some thought.
That question was because India faces a dichotomy and an irony because we recently had a case where an Aston Martin, he completely crashed his car trying to save a stray in Chennai. So we have cars like Lamborghini and Aston Martin, but we don't have roads to drive them. Yeah. So because that also comes back to the smartness of the city.
Sure. But you see, my view is the word is subsidiarization. We've got to get it down to a smaller level. So, sitting in Delhi, you can't deal with all of India. Sitting in each state capital perhaps can't reach all parts of the state. So within Delhi, we need municipals to work, or in big cities, and within states, we need both the panchayat system, the rural plus the urban, but we need to go down to smaller levels and try to make them efficient. So for instance, in this district of 2,000 villages, shouldn't that be almost a social system of its own? There should be enough schools, teachers, hospitals needed that they create employment. Instead, what I saw was people just pursuing MBAs in finance and, while their specialty is some very good oranges, so they should develop a value chain for oranges. But so we really need to look at comparative advantages of the country, and if we could spread prosperity through the country, I think.
So taking care of the initial grassroots level, municipal community, and that would serve the...
Because you see, that's a big enough number and close enough to that reality. So, you see, that can have an impact. So there's the local markets, people can get engaged. So community-based thinking has to emerge. I think so.